What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Third Eye Sipes. I'm your host, Natalia, and this is episode 1 of the Girl Talk series. Now, this is a series I'm going to do maybe once a month, every now and then, but it's basically going to be more geared towards the divine feminine or just us females in general. Men, you are more than welcome to listen in. To learn more about, us females, your girlfriends, your daughters, whatever it is. But yeah, this is kind of like a sister talk, kind of getting into that dormant female energy that not all of us have been, how would I say, integrating as a very sacred part of us. Today's episode is going to be about our menstruation cycle, our moon cycle. Now, the menstruation cycle, or moon cycle, well, it's called the moon cycle mainly because when we were more in tune with the natural flow of the earth, especially the moon, in our more primitive times with, lack of electricity, just mainly living off the land, very very primal living. We bled according to the moon, and our cycle is 28 days, which is the same exact amount of days as the moon cycle. And so generally we would bleed on the new moon, which would be called a white moon. And then my cat's in heat right now, so you can hear her like screaming, which is a very very odd time to do this episode. But so we would bleed on the new moon, and then on the full moon we would be ovulating, so that would be the time for us to become pregnant and have a baby. But now, with electricity and like kind of our inner balance with the light especially is kind of like off balance because we're more daylight now, or like just electricity light, and it kind of just got out of whack. So that's why like most of us tend not to be aligned with the moon cycles anymore, but like a lot who do live off the land still and are in like tribes and stuff like that are most likely to be bleeding according to the moon. It's a 28-day cycle, and we go through 4 stages, kind of like the seasons: spring, fall, summer, winter. And it's a very sacred time for females, and we don't see it as that anymore. It's kind of like when we get our periods, we kind of get the talk like, it's because we can bear children, and then since we're not holding a child, it's kind of like us release, so here's a pad, here's a tampon, that's just what it is. And not a lot of us are taught that this is a very sacred time for us. We don't learn to cherish our womanhood in this way. And we are bearer of children. We hold the vortex, we are the doorway between spirit and physical life. We bring spirit into us and put it out in human form, and it's completely insane and very very sacred and very powerful. So this menstruation cycle is a time where we should be reflecting on that power that's within us, where we have the opportunity to give birth to a human, basically. And it's a very sacred time. So I feel like this episode is going to be learning more about that, and I guess how to integrate and cherish this into your life. So generally we're imbalanced energetically and hormonally. So we go through extreme and energetical symptoms, kind of like, we become psychotic, we go through mood swings, we're cramping a lot, we're going through all these cravings, and it's just, we go through all these extremities because it's our body literally telling us that we need to slow down and relax and tune in and feel, like literally just feel and indulge in this moment. And that's kind of like, you know, the beginning, you know, when you first get your period, it's like super intense, and then, you know, as it goes by, it slows down and gets less intense. So in the beginning stages, it's definitely like a smack in the face, like, chill, relax, you need to lay down, you know, just sit with yourself, meditate kind of thing. Haku. But yeah, this is a very inward time to be with yourself and to tap in to the energetic field around you, especially with the collective. Tap into our intuition, connect with our ancestral heritage and our feelings, what's going on inside. And it's just very, very being with yourself. You know, your energy is kind of at the highest. It's very in tune. So, you know, in the beginning, you may have like a lot of like intense dreams, very vivid dreams, and this is just like spirit's way of trying to connect with you more, because you're at this heightened level at this moment in the month. So yeah, this is very much of a self-love time. Give yourself some time to relax, some time to love yourself, some time to connect with spirit, to tune in, to tap into that feminine energy that you have. And since it's at such a heightened space, it gives you the opportunity, you know, be with that energy. So yeah, the bleeding on the new moon, as it would on regular, I guess I would say regular flow, if we weren't so imbalanced. If we bled on the new moon and ovulate on the full moon, that new moon that we bleed on is called the white moon. And the full moon, you know, we're very fertile during this time of ovulation, and this is very like going inward, you know, being with that self. But then, you know, there's also the opposite, where we bleed on the full moon, and this is called the red moon, and this is very outward, you know, putting and exalting that energy, being headstrong, going in, like putting yourself out there. Basically, it's very action based. So kind of see where you are. If you track your menstrual cycle, you know, see where the moon is at these times. And then also, like, I also learned too, like these past years, when I was very into, you know, this divine menstruation cycle, the more you become in tune with this knowledge and this sacredness in your body that you go through every month, you kind of start to regulate and you start to go according to the moon cycles. It's very interesting. So see where you are now, and then track that with the moon, and the more you tap in with yourself, see how that changes, and how your symptoms change as well. They might, you know, dull down, you know, might not feel so out of whack, so psychotic, or so imbalanced. You know, you may feel more in tune at this time of the month. So yeah, there's that. And this is also you know, a time, this is a celebration time, it's a ceremony time. It's remembering that sacredness within you, you know, nourishing yourself, loving yourself, self-love, giving back to yourself. You know, you spend so much time running around your whole life, you know, gotta do this, gotta do that, go to work, gotta do this, or whatever. And this is the one, you know, even like years ago, when the women did everything, you know, they bared for the children, they bared for the community, they cooked, they did all this, when women were in charge of all this caring and giving. This week that they would bleed, you know, they would all retreat, and the men would let them do that. They knew the sacredness of this, of the women and of the period. And you know, they had these things called red tents, I think, and that all the women would, you know, gather in at this time of the month, and they would just lay back, you know, relax, be with themselves, connect, you know, just rest, literally. And you know, other people would cook for them. They would be the ones being served, opposed to most of the time that they're the ones doing the serving. So this is a very time for self-love, you know, caring for yourself, you know, even telling this to, like, maybe your family would understand, or your partner, or your children, or whatever, and like, know that this is your time, that, you know, your energy is not the highest, like, physical wise, so you need a little more rest and a little more care and love and TLC. So yeah, Haku, she sounds so sad. Yeah, so oh my god, I'll go through the weeks that take up this 28-day cycle. And so the first week is, I would say, the week of spring. And this is like the beginning of it. So like when the day one that you get your period, like this is the beginning of the first week. And this is mostly physical release, like literally, because that's what you're releasing. You're releasing a lot. And it's mostly psychological wise. All right, she doesn't want to come in, so I'm gonna close the door. Psychological wise, it's releasing what no longer serves us. As our body is releasing what isn't serving us, which is, the uterine lining that isn't being, occupied by a baby, basically, or a little fetus. So yeah, as the body is releasing, you should also be releasing as well. Whatever no longer serves you. You're highly intuitive at this time. This is when, like, the vivid dreams come in, or just you feel very in tune. I don't know about you, but a lot of times I just feel very in tune, and I'm pretty sure you guys should, especially as a female. So this beginning week is, very highly intuitive. You're very in tune, and this is the time to retreat. This is the time to rest. You're this entire week that you're bleeding, you're not at your highest. You have those little aches and pains that your body just doesn't want to do as much. You don't have as much physical energy as you usually do. So this is just the time to really relax and retreat. Then after this week, 10 bleeding days usually are 7 days, but it literally differs between people. Mine's lasts about like maybe 5 days, and then like the 6 days kind of just like whatever, like leftover or whatever. But yeah, so 7 days usually, but it differs, honestly. So then following that week, that's the first week, you're gonna have like a 6 to 7 day period that is like before before the second week, which is the time to get pregnant, like your most fertile time, basically, that you're more likely to get pregnant. So if you're not trying to have a kid, I would say like avoid sex, or just like use like intense birth control, or whatever it is that you do, like just like abstain from sex, or be extra protective, but mostly I would say abstain, because even if you're extra protective, you never know, because this is your most fertile time, but if you are trying to have a child, then this is the week to do it, the next 6 to 7 days after your menstruation. And then day 14, so this is the second week, this is the beginning of the ovulation period, and this is the time where like we're very like excreting these hormones, so like that girl smell or that guy smell that's invisible but is very attractive to the other sex. It's basically attracting the opposite sex, your mate. Those hormonal smells are stronger. You may have more energy during this time. After that week of rest, you've built up all this energy to this week, so you may be very high in energy. This is also a time to start projects, if like not only like starting to have a baby, so you can start, if you're looking to have a baby, this is the time to go in there and try. But then also, if you're not trying to have a baby, you could also like start projects, put your work into something else, being creative, or whatever it is that you do. And then yes, you may feel more attractive, more sexy during this time. It's very high sensual, sexual energy at this time, but also creative energy is also that feminine energy, that sexual energy. So it's also a very creative time as well. So yeah, then after that, there's week 3, which is autumn, harvesting, reaping the benefits of what you put in that last week. So all that work that you put in that last week, that summer week, starting those projects, it's finishing those up, reaping the benefits of how much energy you put into those projects, and all just all that good stuff, just kind of and then also if you didn't put as much energy as you would like to into that previous week, you may be feeling regret, as in like, I should have put in more energy into last week, or I should have started that project, or I should have gotten that done. So you may be feeling like that as well. So it's kind of like overlooking the past few weeks, what you've got done for yourself, not even physical, but like more internally as well. So yeah, there's that one. And then there's week 4, which is like closing it all up until you begin the next cycle, which is I guess you would say winter. And this is the PMS, premenstrual winter. So like you think of winter as, it's kind of the hibernation period, the calm before the storm. And the storm would be, like not a bad storm, but like the blooming kind of storm. So this is the PMS week. You get more clarity of you may be more irritable, and a lot of stuff that you don't, I would say, not so like about yourself would come up. So you're very like, cranky, you might be moody, and all this stuff is coming up, and it's showing you what you need to be releasing in the next week, in that period week, that spring week. So yeah, you may have more clarity of what you need to release, and what is it that no longer serves you, that needs to be getting over with. So yeah, it's mostly reflecting. I would say use this time. Don't try to, like, oh, this is the time for me to be irritable. Like, see this time, see those moments of you being irritable arising, see that they exist within you, and see that that's something that you need to let go of, something that you need to shed, starting now or in the next week, the releasing week. But all that stuff is gonna arise, and it's basically just preparing you for what you're gonna need to get done next. And this literally lasts like a whole month. There's 4 weeks in a month. So like literally once you get done with that, then you're starting all over again. You're on your period again, and then you're going through this, low energy through the period. Then you get the high energy, and then you're like working on all this stuff, and then you're like, it's nice. You get that week 3 that it's like, I just like got stuff done, and it's nice. And then you go into the week 4, it's like, okay, I gotta prepare. I'm gonna get into my period next week. So it's kind of just like this endless cycle that we go through until we go through like menopause and stuff like that. But we need to be grateful for this process, because it shows us all, like, especially like the last week, it shows us what we need to be releasing, especially if we're trying to become the better versions of ourselves. We're trying to reach this place of our full potential. We need to be shown what we need to let go of. So we should also be really grateful for this process that we get every month, to show us what we need to be releasing. And also these vivid dreams that we get, they're messages from spirit, from whoever it is that needs to communicate a message with us. We have this sacred time of us females, of us, bleeding and remembering, our true power, that this is our gift as females. We, so many years we've been put to shame. There's a lot of like religions or like spiritual practices that women can't do this on their period, women can't do that, like they're not allowed here, they're not allowed that. And there's a lot of but that's just stuff that happened over the years, of prejudice against women, just from like closed-mindedness and stuff like that. But there was a time where the menstrual cycle is very sacred, and women and men understood that, and they gave women that space. So I feel like now especially we need to come back into the space that it's not something to push aside. It's not something we have to deal with. It's not something that we should be like, oh, like I got my period again, kind of. It's something we need to, once we need to remember. It should be used as a reminder of our sacredness, of our body as our gift as a woman, to bear life, to be that portal from spirit to physical, to be that connection, where I would say females are the most in tune with Mother Earth, as in, divine feminine energy. And a lot of women, like at the time that this was understood, would do very many rituals and sacred seances during this time to give back to Mother Earth, to show their appreciation that they understood the connection with the Earth, as well as with their feminine body. So yeah, the things that they would do, like, okay, so there's I've read some crazy stuff or like heard stories from other people, but a lot of people, not a lot of people, a couple people that I've heard, and I've seen them like on YouTube and stuff, but they actually like drink their period blood. Now, I haven't done like much research into this, but like, okay, so our period blood is like full of nutrients, because this is like, it's releasing all the nutrients and all this like good stuff that it was keeping to give to the baby if you were to have a child, right? So when it realizes, oh, they're not having a baby, it's going to release all those nutrients. So it's very nutrient dense, it's full of plasma, full of enzymes, full of like all this good stuff, all this juicy stuff that our body holds, especially very sacred energies, very, very powerful. So a lot of women ingest that, I guess, to put it back into their body. Now, I wouldn't say, I'm not personally promoting this, but like this is just what I've heard. But I just like, I mean, I also see it as release too. So like whatever needs to be released, I don't think you should be ingesting back into you. But then again, like, I don't know, it could be completely, I haven't done too much research into that, but that's just how I personally feel. But yeah, so women do that, and then there's also like, so we have like these pads and these tampons and stuff like that, and like literally it just sucks up the blood, we throw them out, and but we're not, as we're doing this, we're not seeing, the sacredness of the blood, what's in there, how powerful it is. So a lot of spiritual rituals that are done is that this blood is kept, so you can have like a reusable pad, and then I guess I would like squeeze it out into like a jar or something when you're done, or even the new menstrual cups, like the cups that you kind of like fold and then put up there, and then it like holds the blood inside, and then when you're done you kind of just like take it out and you have like this cup of blood, then you could just like dump it in a cup or whatever. But yeah, those are like once you're done with the week, I think that like once you've collected all this blood during this time, then you can give it back to Mother Earth. You put it by like whatever your favorite nature spot, or like plants, or just like, since it's so nutrient dense and it has the capacity to bear life, you can put it back into the earth, and it holds your DNA in it. So when you're putting your DNA back into the earth, you're connecting your spiritual energy with also the spiritual energy of the earth. So you're actually like physically connecting with the land personally by doing this. So yeah, those are like just some things, and there's like rituals done around it. I'm not too sure specifically. If you want to know more information, I can definitely do research on it and then tell it back to you guys. But yeah, those are just like some. And then also I heard that tampons aren't too good. Just like 70% of women use tampons, but it's just like most of them are plastic, and it creates so much waste for the earth. And like our main thing is you want to go green, and you, especially right now with extreme climate change going on, and our job to take action. You want to help out as much as possible. So yeah, tampons just create so much waste. Pads too, I mean, most is paper, but then like also the packaging and stuff, and it's just like, maybe use reusable pads, or even like this cup, this menstrual cup that can like help a lot and save so much plastic and waste. But yeah, the tampon, we're sticking something up into like our womb basically, which is only one cell thick. Our womb is only one cell thick, and it absorbs like just whatever is up there, because it's super thin. It wants to, absorb like any nutrient. That's why we shouldn't even put anything up there, to be honest. Except like during sexual activity, which should also be done cleanly. But yeah, it's just it's not good unless you use like organic tampons that kind of have a cleaner, nicer, more sensitive way of treating the inside of your womb, I would speak against using tampons. But I'm very high promotion of using reusable things like the pad. I haven't tried the reusable pad or the latex cup, but if you guys have, let me know how they are. I've heard reviews and I've seen that they're very helpful, but then I've also heard a lot of things that, you know, like they fill up too fast, you know, like they leak, stuff like that. So it's kind of like a hit or miss, but I think you just have to get used to it and feel it out and see what works for you. But try to be as eco as possible, you know, help the Mother Earth as much as you would like to help yourself. But yeah, the moon cup is very personal, you know, because you're like, you know, you're getting your hands like a little bloody, you know, you're putting, like, you're touching down there, you're getting very personal with it. So it's not like, you know, you shouldn't disassociate yourself from your period. By doing that, you're disassociating yourself from, you know, that feminine energy that's in you, that part that is with you. You shouldn't disassociate yourself with anything that your body goes through, with what your body has, with what it does, because you know, you are this well, you're not this physical vessel, but this physical vessel is your vehicle, is this thing that's holding your spirit, your soul, that you should take care of, that you should embrace. And it's a very important part of your spiritual ascension. So I believe that you need to connect with this physical body and this vessel in order to tap into those higher frequencies and get into those higher places that you would like to be. But yeah, so during this time, you know, be nice to yourself. You know, I'm very much of a person who's like, oh, I need to get stuff done, and then I feel like shit when I don't get stuff done, and I'm like, oh, why? I should have done this, I should have done that, like, and then you dread over it. Know that you're not gonna have as much energy as you are, like, all the time. So, like, during your period, you need to realize that you're gonna have that low energy, that you need to give yourself that space and time to rest. And that, you know, you're not always going to be like, oh, gotta go, gotta do this, gotta do that, because your body cannot keep up with that. Mentally, you may want to always be getting stuff done, but you have to realize that your body goes through cycles. You go through cycles, and you need to respect that. And if you learn how your cycles move, then you can, you know, schedule appropriately. You know, okay, I'll get all this stuff done this week, you know, your most productive week. Then you'll give yourself some time to rest, give yourself time to reflect, gives yourself time to, you know, recharge and rejuvenate more for that next energy of, you know, high energy, getting stuff done and going through those cycles. So yeah, but that's mostly it when it comes to well, for this episode of you know, the menstrual cycle. This is kind of basically like a quick overview of the cycles that our body goes through throughout these months as a female, energetically, physically, and how we can tap into that. So understanding that this is what we go through in these cycles, we can give ourselves that time for reflection and go in and meditate and be intuitive and connect with that energy of the earth, of the moon, of ourself, you know, appreciating it more, and yeah, just learning more about this female experience and how we can learn to embrace it rather than just push it aside and ignore it. So yeah, that was the divine menstruation. If you guys want to know anything else, feel free to DM me or write to me on whatever it is that you're listening to this, if that's possible. But best way to contact me is through Instagram. My Instagram is Natalia of Earth, Natalia of Earth, this planet Earth. And yeah, that's really it. So thank you so much, guys, for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to know anything else, again, feel free to DM me. And I guess we'll see each other next episode. All right, peace and love, guys.